So I reread this chapter of Boku no Hero Academia about 3 times, and after rereading it a couple of times, I had a very dark thought enter my head when it came to Tamaki's quirk ability. So, Tamaki's quirk ability, whatever he eats, he becomes. For instance, if he eats a clam, he's able to use, like, certain aspects of a clam. Like, he could turn his hand into a clam, which we see in this chapter. Or, if, he eats squid or an octopus, he can, use tentacles, like, from an octopus. So, whatever he eats, he can become. So, he's like, you are what you eat. Here is the dark thought, however. So, if Tamaki was to, say, eat a villain or a hero, what would happen? No, I know, that's pretty fucking dark, yes, but what would happen if he ate a hero or a villain? Would he gain their quirk abilities, or would he just gain their appearance? That is what I'm very curious about, because if he was to, let's say, eat a villain or whatever, like, let's just do an example here. Let's say if he ate Overhaul, okay? Let's say if Tamaki ate Overhaul, would he gain Overhaul's quirk ability, or would he just gain his appearance, the way he looks? Like, would that mean that he could just change the way he looks entirely, like a different way to use his quirk ability? And if so, I could see if his quirk ability could be used for something like that. I could see how villains that have a similar quirk ability might do just that, to become cannibals, just for they can maybe shapeshift or whatever, to be able to do whatever they need to do. So that's just something I'm very curious about, if his quirk ability works like that. And also, another question I have as well, does his quirk ability allow him to eat objects that normally you couldn't consume? Like, an example, let's say if he ate paper, okay? He ate paper, or for some reason he decided to eat like a pencil or something, like a safe pencil or whatever, like pieces of a pencil. Would he be able to use parts of the pencil or, like, paper and turn into it or whatever with his quirk ability? Or is he only able to turn into things that he's able to kind of digest? For instance, things that are edible to, human consumption. And that's my only thing I'm wondering about. I'm wondering if he could eat someone, would he gain their abilities or just their appearance, or what would happen if he ate something that you normally shouldn't be able to eat, and could he eat anything that he wants to be able to turn into it? Because there's a lot of, I guess, limitless possibilities that he could do with his quirk ability because of how he can shapeshift. I mean, just imagine this. This man, he wants to probably spit out some fire, so I could see some form of fire, aspect being used if the man ate some peppers. I mean, imagine if the man ate, like, some habanero peppers or something, and the man, like, had, like, some form of a fire ability. I could see something like that. What would happen if he ate ice? I mean, there's a lot of questions I have about how the ability is used. But regardless of all that, though, Tamaki, he loses his quirk in this chapter, which, fuck. Fuck. Like, it's such a good ability. Like, it looks so good. Loved his character design and all of that. Even his personality. Even though he has some problems, like some actual faults with his character, I love his character personality, and I love the way he was presented in this chapter. And after all of this, he loses his quirk ability. I'm like, oh, fuck. Yeah, that sucks. Like, that legit sucks, because I was getting to like this character. I'm like, I really like him. I liked Hato, and I liked, Togaton already, but seeing this character, Sun Eater, aka Tamaki, I'm like, this character's pretty badass. I want more of him. Then he loses his quirk, and I'm like, well, GG for that. So, let's talk about the conflict, or the main point of this chapter. So, besides what was going on with Kirishima, Tamaki, and all of that, and them going on doing their own investigations and do whatever, we have it to where Shigaraki and Overhaul have their meeting. Something that's been building up for the past couple chapters. And we've been waiting for this, and we've been waiting to see what type of answer Shigaraki wants to give Overhaul. He finally gives it. And from what the little details we get from this chapter, apparently there is a big network of, like, tunnels underneath Overhaul's main estate. For instance, he's able to go wherever he wants to different parts of the town or whatever without being noticed. For instance, let's say he's in his, house, he walks into his house like everything is normal, and then he walks underground. He could probably go maybe a couple miles away into other directions, north, east, south, and west, just to be able to do whatever he wants. And so, that shows how he can bring in, like, villains and stuff to visit him in secret locations. And this might explain kind of how he's gotten away with so many things. And he does say, like, this is how we survived for so long, why we're able to continue doing what we're doing because of the way these tunnels work, and the way we have so many things underground. We can do whatever we want. For instance, they probably can do a big-ass fight underground, and nobody would know because it's probably so far underneath the ground. Because according to Shigaraki, he was going around in circles, around and around down tunnels and stuff for 30-plus minutes. So with that type of stuff going on, obviously, there's some very deep tunnels underneath this man's house. Probably if a big fight broke out, nobody would really even know unless they were able to, like, move the ground, like, you know, cause earthquakes or whatever. That's the only way I could assume that, you know, someone would find out, like, cave in or whatever. But besides all of that, though, I gotta admit, I do like Shigaraki's personality in this chapter, the way he presented himself to Overhaul, and how he wasn't backing down. I mean, when you look at it like this, Shigaraki was walking into enemy territory. He's walking in with no one around, like, nobody is helping him. If you look very closely in this chapter, Shigaraki is by himself. He has nobody to back him up, no bodyguards. He's walking into enemy territory to talk to Overhaul. That right there is pretty ballsy. But then Shigaraki puts his feet on the table, and we know how, you know, Overhaul is when it comes to him and his cleanliness. He doesn't like having dirt or whatever around him. We see how he keeps everything in a nice and clean manner. And when, you know, Shigaraki puts his feet on the table, he's like, you know, take your feet off, you're dirtying the table. And Shigaraki's like, shouldn't you say, please, can you take your feet off, young boss? That was fucking, yo, that's just like Shigaraki. Savage. Savage, 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 savage. I love that. I love Shigaraki's character and the way he presented himself in this chapter of Boku no Hero. But, once the conversation starts, pretty much, Mimic and Chrono get a little bit upset with Shigaraki, because he seems like he's pushing his, you know, luck or whatever, and they kind of try to restrain him a little bit. You have it to where Chrono puts a gun to the back of the man's head, while Mimic, you know, transforms into a big-ass, beefy arm, and pushes down Shigaraki up against the sofa. Now, many might not actually understand what was going on there, because it took a couple of rereads for that panel for me to really understand what was happening, because I didn't really understand what Mimic was doing. I knew he was making some form of arm, but I didn't know if he was phasing through Shigaraki or not. And after really looking at the panel, if you look closely, like, the hand is kind of like upside down. The arm and hand is upside down, pushing Shigaraki's shoulder back and all that. He's holding him back while you have the gun to the back of his head. So that's kind of what was happening in that panel. And with that quick reaction, it goes to show you how fast the bodyguards of Overhaul are. They're not someone that you should mess around with. They're not people that you think are probably weak. They're very strong. Now, obviously, if Shigaraki was to put his hand on them, they would probably, you know, they're dead as hell. And they're probably very aware of that, which is probably why they restrained him in that moment. Regardless, though, I do like how they continue to talk. Shigaraki didn't let it get to him. And he's like, okay, so if I want to work with you, we gotta do 50-50 here. We can't just, you know, have you taking our name for no reason at all. We need to, you know, go at it as equals. And at the same time, we need to know why you want our name so bad. Why are you willing to, you know, do this and all that? We want to know why. And then so the plan is revealed. Apparently, there's these little bullets being made that can disable someone's quirk ability, which we've kind of already known already, thanks to previous chapters of Boku no Hero Academia, what happened to Mr. Compress, and also what happened to, you know, other characters throughout the series, especially in this, you know, chapter of Boku no Hero Academia, what happened to Sun Eater, his quirk ability got disabled. So, I'm assuming that this, you know, these little bullets are being manufactured from the little girl. I've already talked about this kind of in the previous chapters. I'm assuming the little girl is tied to this in some way. She's able to disable quirks, maybe temporarily or maybe permanently. We really don't know at this time, but I'm assuming it's tied to the little girl, and these bullets are, for instance, to be able to make these. And that's kind of what he's doing. He's using the girl to be able to manufacture these bullets for he can, you know, ship them out and make money, but also start a lot of chaos throughout the world. Because, I mean, you got to think about it like this. These bullets, if they can, you know, go into you and inject whatever's inside of them to disable your quirk, obviously, that's very bad, because we don't really know if your quirk comes back or not. It's not really implied yet that it's temporarily or permanently. We don't really know yet, which that's pretty scary. So Sun Eater, Tamaki, could be permanently without a quirk for the remainder of the series or until there's ever a fix or whatever. Maybe the little girl can redo the effects. But whatever's going on, though, clearly it's not good. And for Overhaul to be able to manufacture this, do whatever he wants, and ship out this product to anyone he wants, villains and these little gangs and all of that, this is going to cause a lot of chaos, because heroes are going to have to start worrying. If they take a hit or whatever, automatically their quirk might be disabled, which could put them in a very big spot. I mean, the only reason why Kirishima was even able to take the bullet and be fine was thanks to his quirk ability in the first place. It bounced off of him. So when you look at it like this, some users, quirk users, will be fine. However, though, a lot of them are not like Kirishima, so it's going to be pretty bad on the field now for a lot of heroes. Even someone like, Izuku, if he was to get hit by that would probably disable his quirk. Instantly would disable his quirk, because his skin can't harden up like that. Maybe someone like All Might might be able to resist it when you think about it like that, because All Might, since he trained his body so much, he was so strong when he was in Prime. I'm not saying the All Might now. I'm saying Prime All Might might have been able to resist the bullet, because probably his skin was so freaking hard after just training so much and being so strong. Maybe he could have resisted that. But now, though, someone like Izuku, I don't think, he would be able to resist a, quirk disabling bullet. So yeah, it's a pretty bad spot for our characters right now, and I can't wait to see what Kirishima does in the upcoming chapters. So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I love you all so much. You have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Please be safe. Chibi out.